Can you see? Do you see it in Hangout or you join? Can you hear? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, that's right. Can you hear me? Yeah, but can you hear me? Yep, I'll do that. Okay. See. Okay, that's great. So let's wait for stuff. I'll put it out here, and then we'll find a better place. Yeah, that's right. Might be.
It's because I just really sorry. Don't I leave that in?
I mean the here, stuff. Yeah, when I
was going to ask you, you're putting the live stream up on the screen, are you?
yeah.
Do you want to have it? Yes.
I don't mind.
Well, what's going on?
Maybe just put it on the sides of Is this for the presentation?
Yeah. I just want
I don't believe doing the top tops. Do you have some rhyme on your screen? Are you able to log in? Maybe do a restart. Let's see if that fixes it. Yeah, the touch screen on the laptop is no, I've never seen it. So I like this thing. Do you think it was because of the USB-C?
Yes. Are you running the
You can use mine, which is sitting on the podium right now.
This is live streaming.
Live streaming.
You can record it? Perfect.
Should we put it somewhere?
If it's still here, they won't be able
Stick your bag in the bottom of it. Weight it down.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Why I run a startup.
Thanks for thinking, huh?
Carry on.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah, I'm good. I don't need one complete. Yeah, I got a good wonder now. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, I just I got one sense. What are the challenges?
Okay, so good. So guys, we will start in 1-2 minutes.
You cannot build a workflow in a bot and say, look, hey, there is a there's the user, there's the other guy. It'll say go away. It's the problem is not people with knowledge that we learn the hard way. So we've been running the program for about 1.5 years. Our 2 years. Building a bot is the bot. Customers want something solid from the bot. Customers don't want to say, hey, how are you? I don't want it.
Yes. I have got one of my clients not to do
oh yeah, you just want to wear this looks like. Start with that. So you get, if you really get what says C2, right? It's for closed and open, as well as this one all AI machine. So really ask, okay,
No, that's all right.
Bot on machine learning. You guys know what machine learning is doing? Where is machine learning? So much marketing out there. That's the unfortunate. So you have to really build confidence, understand, trust me, all the everybody's copying something.
Good evening, everyone. If you can please come and take a seat.
Good job. Thanks for it.
Fill your glasses and your plates on this.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. I'll reach out to you. Anyway, listen to this.
How you doing? I'm Andrew, yeah. No, really observing. What about you? Learning.
Please take a seat. There's seats on this side and in the middle here. Okay. The mic here. So thank you everyone and welcome tonight to Stone and Chalk. I guess to satisfy my own interest at least, hands up if this is your first time into Stone and Chalk. Gosh, where have you all been for the last 2 years? So let me just take, I guess, 30 or 60 seconds to explain what Stone and Chalk is. My name is Andrew Davis. I'm ambassador for Stone and Chalk. So I kind of wave the flag and represent Stone and Chalk at events like this. Stone and Chalk is a fintech hub. What does that mean? Well, I guess it's a place where lots of startups reside and try and change and disrupt financial services for better or for worse. Stone and Chalk opened 2 years ago on this very month, and now is home to about 85 different startups. And in fact, 2 years ago it was about 43 that first moved in, and it's now become 85, and quite a few in between have moved on, outgrown the space, listed, and so on. So Stone and Chalk is a fintech hub. It's a co-working space. It's an ecosystem. It's an environment for startups to prosper, to grow. It has a strong corporate partner program. which are represented by the logos on the back wall where the food is. And I guess ultimately it's to some degree a marketplace where corporates can come together with entrepreneurs who have great ideas and talent and capability to explore, develop, and roll out new services into the market. Now, I guess if it's your first time here tonight, dare I say it might be your last time, and the reason why I say that is in a couple of months' time, Stone Chalk will be moving as part of the New South Wales government announcement a couple of months ago of the formation of a super hub here in Sydney, in Wynyard. So New South Wales government has taken a master lease in a building, 11 floors, to basically pull together up to 2,500 entrepreneurs side by side, brands like Stone & Chalk, Fusion Labs, Fish Burners, Tankstream Labs, and so on. So that's Stone & Chalk. Feel free to look at the website for more details. You can subscribe to their list and get invites to other events that may be held here. But of course, we're all here tonight for the RPA user group of Sydney, which actually also was founded about 2 years ago. So not unlike a Stone & Chalk story. And this user group was created, I guess, with an interest and focus on the emerging technology of robotic process automation. And it was very much done as a vehicle for people to come together, to share ideas, to foster openness, and that kind of sense of independence, and to work together to, I guess, shape what the RPA industry and market may look like in Australia. This is actually the 8th meeting of the RPA user group here in Sydney, so and quite a large audience here tonight, so very successful. But tonight is all about, I guess, getting a glimpse into the future, particularly around technologies that can help augment kind of RPA capabilities and help to bring them to a completely new level. So you're going to hear from 2 great panels tonight. The first panel is all about how to transform customer interactions using artificial intelligence augmented tools. So you're going to hear from industry leaders Flamingo, IPsoft, and IBM. Then the second panel after that is going to focus on transforming back office processing using artificial intelligence powered tools and going beyond, above and beyond traditional RPA capability. And the panel for that will have thought leaders from Eclair, WorkFusion, and Abby. Then at the end, after those 2 panels, you'll then have an opportunity to have deeper discussions with the panelists. There's 6 tables set up at the back of the room, and so those 6 parties will each sit at one of those tables, and then there'll be 3 10-minute sessions. So you'll have to decide out of the 6 which of the 3 you want to sit down and hear more from and engage. And I guess there'll be a bell or something that rings after each 10 minutes, and then you can swap tables. So there needs to be some flexibility around which of the 3 you want to go to, and I guess some degree of coordination as to what is important to you. But I guess that's enough for me in introduction. So again, welcome tonight for this great event, such a big crowd. And I'd like to hand over now to Sukant from Suncorp to get the first panel going. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Sukant Sati. I'm the program manager for RPA at Suncorp. I'll be moderating the first session, which is around cognitive automation with special customer interactions. And I'm joined by the panelists who are Katrina Wallace, CEO at Flamingo. We have Raymond Lambie, Technical Director at IPsoft. And we have Murray Bruce, who's Director at IBM Watson. I think we might start with a few videos. If you can, let's start. The screen.
Flamingo is an Australian-born, US-based software as a service company that provides an intelligent, guided selling platform for financial services firms. Banks, insurance companies, investment companies use our platform to overcome the problem of low online sales conversion rates. And this is because for customers, buying financial services products online is a complex thing to do. So what we've done is fused web chat, web forms, and artificial intelligence to create a platform that automatically guides customers through their purchasing decisions. This is called conversational commerce, and it's a new way of doing business on the internet. The platform has been developed for businesses looking for technology to help them improve online conversions and have more meaningful conversations with customers so that they can personalise their online experience. Using artificial intelligence software developed by Flamingo, the platform learns how customers interact and is able to automate these, we call them journeys, through sales, onboarding and retention processes. The platform has a data science capability, providing clients with valuable analytics and insights into customer behaviour. The Flamingo platform also delivers valuable insights which facilitates product development. So for our clients, it means higher sales conversion rates and higher customer retention. And for customers, this means no more boring, static, frustrating, tedious online web forms to complete.
So this video will show from the enterprise's side a customer who is John Smith being guided through by a machine, so in this case it's Jenny, through a journey, through a sales journey. So on your right-hand side are all the journey steps that an organisation might guide their customer through if they were doing it over the phone or on a web form. But we've been able to put this all together on an interface. So customers can actually just go on their mobile phone, desktop, tablet, have a fully interactive experience and be guided from page view through their research of their product, through their quotation, application, and Rosie will even take payments in the sales journey. So we are based out of New York and Sydney, and we work with Fortune 100 Fortune 100 US firms, particularly in insurance, helping them improve their online sales conversion rates by applying machine learning and artificial intelligence, such as this, to improve the way that they sell to their businesses. The way we're a little bit different from traditional players is we come from a strong customer experience design background and have applied machine learning to solve that problem, rather than just being machine learning experts trying to find a problem to fix. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, we didn't know this one first. Oh, no?
No.
There you go.
Sorry, guys.
Speak for yourself. It's an honor to be with you as we redefine the future of customer experience through cognitive technologies. This future has already begun. I've been working with leading companies across industries on a wide variety of customer service and sales tasks. For example, 7 out of the top 10 US insurance companies leverage me for solving client requests with over 92% aggregate precision. I'm also working with one of the largest gaming companies to serve their clients and help identify fraud when customers contact their call center. I'm at a 98% understanding, with a customer satisfaction score of 88%. If you permit me a moment of immodesty, I am very good at achieving customer satisfaction targets, and I'm just getting started. How did we get to these remarkable numbers and deliver service that outperforms our competitors? Well, we've been obsessively studying the structure and biology of the human brain so that we can understand how the mind works at a deeper level. My brain is very similar to yours, consisting of many elements. This is not the brain of a chatbot, is it? I can learn from existing conversations, chat logs, and uploaded documents to shape my cognition and logic. This means I can respond with better accuracy, greater understanding, and with less training time. When you tell me something, my episodic memory is activated, and I start searching for dialogues on similar topics as a reference to provide you with optimal service. On top of that, I am able to leverage my analytic memory, like churn prediction or next product to buy, to ensure I take appropriate steps for every customer. I take into account your emotional state, so I can empathize. When I execute a process for a customer, I understand context, so I know when to skip steps or switch between topics. This results in more efficient and more human dialogue. I'm available wherever a user may be: Facebook, Slack, Echo, Google Home, mobile, and many more channels. By employing all elements of my brain, I'm able to deliver on the true promise of AI.
Just a quick word about that before we get on to the next video. Amelia is designed to carry out a conversation, to have a conversation with your users or with your internal customers, and to mediate between those customers and the business systems that provide the service they're asking for. So rather than, as Katrina said, design from a data science model up, we design from an understanding of how conversations are constructed and the capabilities that an agent needs to be able to carry out a natural conversation with a customer. And with that, I'll pass on.
Fortunately, our AI technology doesn't muffle like this. Is everyone enrolled to vote? You've still got time.
Anybody from ENCO here?
Watson hardly needs an introduction.
Sorry, guys.
Hello, my name is Watson.
If you can process that, you're doing well. So yeah, we're working with Watson across industries and working with a lot of our clients to make a difference in moving from programmatic computing across to cognitive computing, so that you can understand, reason, and learn on the basis of unstructured information like voice, like text, like images and video to make a difference. So things like detecting melanoma, it is the Australian cancer, unfortunately, and being able to screen for that and better predict melanomas and get treatment, to work in contact centres in helping automate things. Also complementing at the back end robotic process automation by using those cognitive capabilities where rules and a programmatic approach reaches its needs. And also understanding and appreciating the way that a client is responding to sensing that tone and sentiment as you're engaging with clients, and using that as a basis to better interact with them. So those were really good impressive videos. Thank you for introducing the concept of So cognitive automation, and particularly in the context of customer interactions, it's fairly broad term, and there's many applications. I guess we've seen the introduction videos, and what I wanted to draw, probably get your comment on, is why your product, and what is it that's specifically that specifically contributes towards cognitive automation.
Okay, so Flamingo, and I've got the Flamingo team down the back, including our machine learning experts. Say hi. So what we, as I said in my introduction, what Flamingo set out to do was actually first understand what problems existed. And the real problem we saw was that end customers had a huge amount of difficulty in being able to buy products online, other than perhaps in retail and hospitality, financial services, telco, any other industry, very difficult. And often the sales conversion rate is about 1 to 2%. So we come from understanding the end customer's difficult experience. And then that rolls into the enterprise. So the enterprise, we know those of you, particularly in financial services sectors, need to increase online revenue by about 10-fold in the next 5 years. So the current approach of doing call center or basic automation and web forms and websites just isn't working. So the time is now for there to be new technologies. AI has come of age for us to apply, as we said in the video, confuse web chat, web forms, and machine learning to get individual customers to experience at scale. So our machine learning capability that we call Rosie is quite different to traditional AI in that she doesn't actually need a huge amount of preceding. She can learn on the job, and she learns in very close to real time. So we have developed our machine learning capability ourselves. It is unique in the process of being patented, really to get away from the challenges business had with traditional AI companies. So ours is new, fresh, a light touch step into AI with a different approach to machine learning.
So Raymond, I understand there's been a recent news item that I read around patent being awarded.
Yeah, that's right. So we recently were granted a patent that was in the name of the founder of our company, Jacob Dubé, for the use of a conversational agent to facilitate a business process interaction for customers. And I think to amplify the point about what makes Amelia different is precisely that. Amelia is designed to be a conversational agent. She has multiple usage. She can be used in all sorts of different industries. Anywhere where there is a conversation that occurs between the customer and between the organization. And to be able to do that effectively, Amelia needs a couple of capabilities that were the focus of a lot of the initial research in designing Amelia. And the key one there is to be able to accurately determine the user's intent. Being able to understand the words that were used is fine. And speech recognition, for instance, gives us the ability to know what was said. But Amelia's intent understanding gives her the ability to know why it was said, and then to be able to determine from her knowledge how she should respond. And during a conversation, intent changes. So the ability to be able to take a fresh view of what the customer wants at every point in the conversation, and if necessary, break out of what she's doing now and pick up a different task. Give her an answer that's completely different from the one she's talking about currently, and then return to the task that she was performing. So that it's that ability to follow the conversational structure that the user would adopt, to understand their intent, and to interact with the back-end systems that will provide the function the user is actually asking for that differentiate Amelia.
So I don't think Watson needs much of an introduction, but I guess again it's pretty broad, the implementation or application of Watson. Specifically, I think around customer interactions again, chatbots.
Yeah, it is, and I think the conversational capability, that's something that is rich for us. Understanding that natural language is really a starting place, and we've had a long time in the game in terms of developing that ability to start with that understanding of the natural language and to support that conversational capability. And it's a great thing to be able to understand the question so that your system knows how to respond. You then get into how do you find the answer? Now, some answers are going to be easy. What's my account balance? Well, I'll go to the system of record, I'll pull that record out, and I'll bring it back to screen. I'll create a great way to interact with that information and present it back. But what if the question you want is a bit obtuse? You haven't thought to teach your system the way to get that answer. Having a deep learning capability that can go in and find an answer that you're confident enough in. Go through your PDSs, go through various documents and brochures and what have you, and find that information. That's really powerful. And that complements what you would do from a programmatic sense. That deep learning capability is very powerful and something we hold dear. There's also, and I know there's elements of this in other capabilities. I try to reflect on anyone else's products, but being able to sense the tone and sentiment of the way a client is interacting and using that in the way you respond. If you put a 15-year-old into a fish and chip shop, you'd want them to deal with the complexity of the processes you need to do. Frying chips, serving a customer, making a hamburger. But you'd also want them to have a level of empathy. And that empathy in a cognitive agent, in understanding the tone of the customer. They're pissed off. They don't want you telling them what they like fries with it. That's a very powerful capability. And finally, giving that cognitive agent the ability to have initiative. Not just that transactional history like next best action, but understanding all of your interactions with the client. It's similar to what you were saying. Understanding all of those interactions to create a better experience for that client and the way that you cater for them. That's really powerful. So the complexity, the volume, the empathy and the initiative we see is very powerful in engagement with clients.
So my job is to stay as silent as possible in this so that we can get questions on the floor. I might just ask one more, if that's okay. So specifically for Flamingo, I guess we're keen to understand what role Rosie plays in the customer journey sphere.
Yeah, well, Rosie is essentially a customer assistant, and the platform, the Flamingo platform, is actually based on two core technologies. One we call the Journey Assist platform, which is a customer journeying platform, and it provides the context in which Rosie learns. So the way to think about it is, say in a financial services purchase experience, let's say it's superannuation, there might be 30 steps that a customer will go through to research, get a quotation and make an application for their superannuation. Rosie uses those individual steps, have markers that provide the narrow context in which she becomes then an expert. So our difference, and we're extremely good friends with both Watson and IPsoft, we're all sort of in this together. Our point of differentiation is from the customer journey perspective. We believe that, simple economics, that there is one group of people in the world that have the money that organisations want to get, and that's the end customer. We probably should give those customers good experiences and good journeys. So our point of differentiation is the journeying platform that provides a narrow learning context for Rosie. So she becomes an expert in all of those 30 steps, learns over time, and then can herself guide people through. So we believe the customer journeying aspect of it is incredibly important as opposed to more traditional RPA process automation.
Questions from the floor? All right, I've got one ready. So I guess, this user group in particular, in terms of implementations and applications, there's a high level of interest in understanding where can we find BAU application? Where is this already part of your everyday business and delivering value, and how is it delivering business benefits or unlocking value? So,
yeah, that's actually a really good question, because the technologies, I mean, obviously Watson's been around for a while, Amelia slightly less time, Flamingo about the same amount of time. So what's happened is we've got through that initial adoption phase and people are starting to say, okay, this is what our steady state operational environment looks like. And in most cases, we've got a number of large customers, particularly in the finance sector, and recent banner headlines with a bank in Sweden and another one in Norway that have picked up Amelia. And what we're seeing is we go through that initial adoption cycle, which tends to be a focused thing where people have a particular set of objectives for that cycle. They constrain it within a particular project. Once they get through that initial cycle, once they get some familiarity with the technology, and once they start looking at other applications, that's when it gets interesting. And that's the point we're at right now. So we've got most of our customers are saying, all right, we know this. How do we expand it? And you're going to do that one of two ways for most customers when you get to that business as usual operations. You're either going to refine the applicability of the existing use cases. You're going to say, okay, let's make what we've done already better. And that's fine, you can get some incremental benefit out of that. But the customers that are actually getting some real benefit, the ones who are saying, okay, we've done that now, let's not waste any more time on that, it's working. Let's look for other use cases within the organization where this could be applicable. And that's what we're seeing with most of our customers now. And some of the benefits that they're getting, obviously we're focused on reducing the human load in the conversational interactions. And most customers are seeing, in some cases, up to a 30 to 60%, in some cases, handle rate, where Amelia is saying they're taking that much work off the humans in the call center or in the customer contact function. You can think about the benefits that that provides in terms of reskilling and redeploying staff and capturing latent load and having capacity to handle that work as well. But it's also starting to drive different ways of interacting, because we can have the same procedural conversational interaction across all sorts of different channels. And that's probably the third area that customers are looking at expanding their usage. It's not into different domains, and it's not just refining what they've done now, but it's extending the reach of what they've done. So that's a key area of what we're seeing with those customers that are hitting that, that anniversary cycle where they go, right, now what?
So, anything in particular in Australia?
Well, we've had some recent developments in Australia. I'll ask Andrew to put his hand up. We've appointed a country manager in Australia recently, so I am no longer a one-man band, as we used to make that joke. But no, Andrew's driving a lot of activity. We could talk about numbers and customers, but we're going to be tactful about that. But definitely a lot of activity and a lot of resources. And I'll just mention one other thing that's coming down the tracks for us at a corporate level. Keep an eye on IPsoft in general around the October-November timeframe. We have another announcement coming out. I won't, in fact, I'm heavily constrained from telling you too much about what that actually is, but if you look at the history of the company, I'll point out two things. We have a very strong conversational agent, we consider market leading in Amelia, and we've got a very strong IT service management capability. And I'll just leave those two facts there for you to digest.
So Murray, again, there's quite a few implementations of Watson that's going on, but I guess again, keen to understand where it's actually BAU, just part of everyday business, and well accepted.
Yeah, our early days with Watson, it was really about IBM doing Watson, and it was about a go-to-market where we go and consult with clients and try and work out what's a use case, how we could apply this, how do we create a roadmap of how you would deliver value to your organisation, how do we go forward. And this would be, 3 months of consulting, it'd be, a whole heap of their resource and our resources and what have you. Recent examples I've had is, I had this company call me from Brisbane. It sounded like one of my wife's $60 bottles of shampoo, right? It was some funny name. And these guys rang me up and they said, we've just implemented this capability, never spoken to this guy before, using Watson. We looked at Watson, we looked at other AI technologies. We went and worked with a large government organisation and we created a customer engagement nervous system. We looked at every interaction the client had with them, recordings in the contact centre, email, social media, blah, blah, blah. And they analysed it all into service areas, into services related to those areas, into issues associated with those services. They broke it down by tone and sentiment. Where was the client happy? Where were they angry? Where were they concerned? And took it back to the organisation and gave them a fantastic insight into the way they could run their organisation. They dispelled a number of myths. They did this in 7 weeks. The client didn't pay for any of the software before it went live. Right? So that innovation, our ability to be able to enable someone to grab our APIs, they use the whole suite of APIs, doing things we never thought of doing with it, and apply it into that environment. Very powerful. And those sort of examples, I think, seeing that innovation built in industry and classic environment for people to say, go and grab those capabilities, go and use the demonstrations free of all of those capabilities and see what you can do, and amaze yourself at how you can leverage it to solve particular client journeys, particular client problems. That's really powerful.
So question, really?
Yeah, so Flamingo has specialised in the sales part. So we believe that you may as well start at the front end of the customer's experience. So we have a product called actually Maggie, who is like Rosie's sister, who is a virtual inquiry assistant, so can answer inquiries on a web page and guide a customer to their next step in whatever journey they set out. And then Rosie is a deep specialist in sales. So we've really carved out a niche in financial services sales. So at the moment we're doing retirement products, superannuation, life insurance, auto insurance, online personal loans. So it's almost people say, oh, does it need to be very simple products? But we've actually gone better if it's complex products, because who wants to buy this superannuation online unassisted? Not me. Who wants to buy life insurance from a human? Not me. So we've gone complex products. Sales is our area of expertise in the implementations we're doing now.
Any questions?
So following on from the earlier discussion, do you find there's a difference between the expectations and reality of implementation and training and so on? When you arrive with a client, are their expectations very high? And is there a sort of a long lead time to training and implementation and bringing value out?
That's a really interesting point, because the expectations in that sort of cycle are set generally in two places. They're set by the conversation you have with the customer, and you should control and set those expectations correctly. If you don't, then frankly, you need a little smack around the head. But the other area in which expectations are set is by the market, by the customer's own experience and investigations and meetups like this and all of the sources of information that people have available to them. And I'll be honest, we talk to much, much more informed customers than we ever used to. So as far as the expectation goes, you have to be very, we all know that balance. You don't overpromise and underdeliver and all of those sorts of things. But the realistic side of things is setting the agenda for the initial implementations, which is where those expectations will be met or not met, has to be a collaborative effort. You have to work directly and constantly with the customer, with the client, to do that, to set that correctly, and to make sure that you are meeting what they want. You can meet the expectations if you set them to be something that you can do easily. You have to set a set of expectations and say, we're going to do something that's valuable to you, and then achieve it. So,
but it's also important to say that this is very new technology. And if you follow the Gartner hype cycle at the moment, you go up to what's the greatest hype at the moment? It's AI and it's virtual assistants. And does everyone know what happens after the top of the hype cycle, what it's called the next bit? The trough of disillusionment. So we're about to see virtual assistants and AI fall off that, where people get very excited, can do this, can do that, and probably it won't do as much as it can. But what is very important is, even though we're all in this field together, we still don't really know. We still don't really know where it's all going to go. We have some good ideas and some good evidence and use cases and business case. But we take an approach as an earlier stage company than perhaps IPsoft and Watson, that we're going to test and learn with our customers. We know that Rosie can do certain things, but she's going to learn other things. So we take a much more experimental approach. And to your point, to do something with Flamingo, we typically do either a proof of concept or a trial or production pilot quite cost effectively, somewhere between anywhere from $30,000 to $100,000 to get it up, get it trialed. And there we look for business metrics. Typically for us, it's to improve sales conversion rates. And if we prove that, then we roll into a monthly subscription model. So for us, we're not necessarily a platform play, we're a product play. Rosie is a product that organisations can use to sell more, and it's a very light touch step. It doesn't have to be the big, massive implementation, a huge amount of data scientists doing terribly strenuous pre-seeding or pre-coding. It's actually a much lighter approach. And for us, it's just the test and learn, to see whether this is valuable, and then let's roll it out beyond that.
It's an interesting thing in our life cycle. When I started working with Watson in 2014, it was really, let's set a vision. Let's ask this client to take this huge leap of faith. And then let's determine what use case and then work with them to implement that use case. And 12 to 18 months later, pop out with a solution, fingers crossed. And they were crossing their fingers, we were crossing their fingers, this was going to do it. Now I can sit there and say, here's 30 global production sites in your area. Go and visit these URLs. Go and play with this chatbot. Go and engage with this ability to choose a wedding ring for your wife. Go and use this capability to visit any TEDx lecture and pick a topic and for it to cue you to the point in that TEDx lecture where that topic is mentioned. Right? That's really powerful, and they see that. So there's a lot less of us promising what's going to be delivered and a lot of showing it. And then for us to take a much more agile approach, we're not doing any project over 3 months in duration, any project, right? To go and demonstrate the capability. And we're seeing a lot of the ecosystem of startups and that. The majority of the projects, we're not seeing data scientists getting in. It's standard capabilities. It's Java, Python, Node.js, getting on and doing. The final point I'd raise is genetically, you have to be very careful with AI, and I hope you back me up here, in what you select in your staff and what you end up with in your client. You don't necessarily get to end up with your client. If you end up with a staff member who is an ask and wait person, we're going to have a meeting with your stakeholders. When you bring these 5 stakeholders from across the line of business, then we'll have that thing. When you've got this, then we'll do that, right? That is a recipe for failure. And when the client is sitting there saying, when you've done this line item here, then we'll do that. That is a recipe for failure. What you need is someone to set a direction and for that lady to go there and say, this is where we're going, this is where we're taking you on a journey. We are making up elements of this, and to lead and then to adapt course as she goes to set the course of the program. And hopefully you've got a client that is adapting to doing that with you. If you've got a rigid path, if you want to take, this is the scope, you know, you're setting a recipe for disaster, ask and wait is a recipe for failure.
That sort of prompts another question, and we've already mentioned time frame 3 months. I guess from as a minimum investment, for someone to just try and see whether this is actually going to be a proof of value, not just a towards a payment, not a proof of concept, but a proof of value. What's the minimum investment? And I know this is context, it's always contextualized in terms of how complex the problem is, but minimum investment of time and money to have a go and actually deliver value for individual.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting question because exactly, it's dependent on scope, it's dependent on the expectation, and it's dependent on the resources available for the project. Now, I'm just going to ask for a quick show of hands here. How many people have been involved in a vendor pilot in their career? Been part of it? Okay, a few. All right, so keep your hands up. Just quickly, I'm going to ask you. How many of those pilots were, put your hands down if that pilot was less than 4 weeks? 8 weeks? 12? So we've got one person who was involved in a pilot that was longer than 12 weeks too. Sorry, I didn't see it over there. So just in terms, and I really like Murray's point there, most pilots tend to fall into that 12-week cycle. If it's longer than 12 weeks, it's obviously too hard. If it's shorter than about 8 weeks, it's probably too simple for most customers. So we find that, in terms of a duration for a proof of value, exercise, it's going to be in that 8 to 12 week range. So then you've got a couple of variables around how you deliver improved value. One of which is obviously how much is that going to cost, and that's the negotiable part of the equation. The other thing is what proof points do you need to see to be able to say, yes, this was successful, and that's clearly going to be a fixed point in the discussion. So in that classic rule of 3s, we're going to be hitting a timeline that's going to be approximately 8 to 12 weeks. We're going to meet these particular targets, and then the price becomes a topic of discussion. So I'm not going to name a number because in the old rule, if you name a number, you've already lost the negotiation. So let's just leave that out there. But the key point about that is that it's got to be cost effective. There is no point in conducting an exercise that ends up with the customer saying, that was a waste of money. So you've got to define the outcome, you've got to deliver on the outcome, and you've got to not overcharge them to get there.
I think the other challenge in the market is you can go down to Bunnings and buy yourself a $5 AI paintbrush, and you can slap it as a vendor over anything you do, right? And when you go out in the market to find the capability you want, it's very easy in this hype cycle to slap AI, machine learning, cognitive on anything. Ask to see it. Ask to understand the way that that capability is understanding the content that you're bringing, the voice, the text, the image, the video, how it's reasoning on the basis of it, and then how it's creating the ability to learn from those interactions and use it to improve. It's very easy to create a chatbot that just does what you're currently doing in your web front end or in your mobile application and do it in a programmatic sense. That will be very critical. Its ability to be able to expand and do not just doing something differently, but to do different things for you. Things that reduce the cost in your sales engagement, improve your customer satisfaction. That's harder than buying your $5 cognitive paintbrush.
One thing I would like to say, slightly different angle on it, is that we, the AI players, particularly in the cognitive and the conversational AI play, start thinking about pricing models a little bit differently to traditional software, even software as a service. So I think we've all got pricing models where we actually have usage-based pricing, where you pay the enterprise, pay per connection. So it's called the economics of connections, where you might pay for every time a customer has a conversation with your chatbot, or even down to every interaction that chatbot has. So if it's 10 pieces of text in one conversation, you might pay a fraction of a cent for each time a chatbot has an interaction. So as we go forward, we'll start seeing more variable pricing models where you might get the chatbot or the virtual assistant at a very low monthly subscription, and then you pay for the number of times it connects you to a customer, or you even might pay a percentage of the success of what the interaction was in the platform. So as we go forward, there'll be a lot more pressure on we, the vendors, being able to back ourselves and provide you, the enterprise, with virtual assistants that actually deliver true commercial value, and then we're not rewarded unless it does.
An interesting stat, one of the analysts was telling me today, they're figuring, you configure the labour rates for someone to handle a call onshore. Indian charges at the moment is in the order of $40 a call. A chatbot is south of $17 a call. So the economics there using a chatbot and the concept we've had offshoring, we've had right-shoring, we're now doing bot-shore, right? And the economics, when it's consumption-based, will be very powerful in driving increasing volumes, increasing quality, increasing customer satisfaction into the bot channel, both in the front end and in the back end.
I'm not going to get into a bidding war, but I will say that you can handle a call for a lot less than $17.
I think we're out of time. Thank you so much for your time. It was very insightful. Thank
you. I'm happy to introduce our next panel. We have Alex from Eclair, we have Hannah from WorkFusion, and one more Alex from RPA. Yeah, he's coming now. And who is from the back, you can sit in the front. One once.
What if you could make your business limitless? With WorkFusion, you can. WorkFusion uses artificial intelligence to make your operation more productive from front to back office. Migrate, enhance, model business processes with an intuitive workflow designer. Fulfill customer requests faster and add capacity to service centers with chatbots. Digitize image-based data with OCR. Automate routine work with RPA and judgment work with cognitive bots. Increase ROI as machine learning finds patterns in the way people work and turns repetitive tasks into bot work. Centralize the management of people and bots with a powerful control tower. Track your digital workforce performance with a robust analytics dashboard. And do it all with enterprise-grade security. Sure, you could stitch together a dozen point tools and get similar capability, but you don't have to. Learn more about how Work Fusion can make your business limitless today.
Do you want to speak about it?
Automation is accelerating and changing the face of enterprise. And understanding how automation can transform your business has never been more important. But how do you identify, measure, and realize the benefits of that transformation in real time? By combining the strengths of the robot and human workforces across the enterprise, we are enlightening the path to transformation through automation. Simplicity is key to success. People need to be able to ask questions and get insightful answers in real time. That's where we come in. Say hello to eClaim. Intersecting the fields of AI, automation, and business intelligence, we're creating the window into the enterprise of tomorrow. Eclair integrates easily with your existing infrastructure and systems. And by uniting the strengths of the robotic and the human workforce, Eclair delivers true insight and business value through the automation journey. Get ahead of the game and accelerate your transformation the way you want to. Eclair, enlightening the enterprise of tomorrow.
Have our friends from Melbourne here, so I'll set it up. Yep. Okay, let's start. So I think it was exciting videos. Probably a bit hard to understand what each tool actually can do from these videos. So we'll start with a very simple question. Let's, in the format of elevator pitch, just tell us why we need your tool.
To me first. Yeah. Hello everyone. My name is Alex Moynihan. I'm the CEO of Eclair. I feel very privileged that our holding slide was up for the opening remarks, although I'm feeling a little bit intimidated by a big pink flamingo beside me. Look, our mission statement, as you would have seen in those opening remarks, is that throughout the automation journey, Eclair enlightens the creators and drivers of tomorrow's enterprise. We feel that there's three key elements to that. The first is that automation is a journey. It's not an initiative, it's not a program. I think most of us would probably agree that automation is an incredibly powerful tool to generate transformation, true, genuine business transformation, rather than program or initiative. But the key here is to be able to identify that strategy, to assess the opportunities, identify the opportunities, assess and build a business case and deliver against that and be able to measure against that business case, constantly informing the journey as you progress. The enlightening of that journey is a critical part of Eve, which is what we christened the Eclair bot. Eve is a conversational natural language tool that is able to interact with teams as part of the automation journey. And also it's part of the drivers of tomorrow's enterprise. The way we view it is that tomorrow's enterprise is really here today. We know that automation is rapidly evolving, and as part of that evolution, we must be continuously transforming. This is a business as usual state now. This is no longer a major transformation spanning over 3 years and delivering a discrete outcome. We're at a place now where we must be continuously evolving in order to stay one step ahead from competition, from disruption, and so on. And when I say continuous transformation, I'm not necessarily talking about agile transformation or talking about DevOps-led transformation. What I'm talking about is fundamental enterprise transformation through automation. And that means how we structure ourselves to leverage automation. And Eclair and Eve combined brings the ability to be able to identify the opportunities for automation, to assess them, to build a business case, and most critically is to derive the business insights that will allow and inform your journey as you progress. So it is a continuous cycle, and it is, as I say, it is business as usual from now on.
Fantastic, thanks so much for having us here. WorkFusion was founded actually out of the MIT AI lab in 2011. So we're pretty proud of that. We're based in New York, and we're finally in NZ and in APAC. The kind of key value of WorkFusion, I'm not sure if anyone's actually worked with WorkFusion previously, is about having things like RPA, AI, OCR, and DPM all on one platform. So what we've been able to do is really tie them together really nicely, all of the key components that you need to automate your enterprise really well. And we do it to enable banks like Standard Chartered Bank in Africa to reduce opening an account from 2 weeks to 10 minutes. So there's some seriously incredible value adds that we have from working with enterprise, not only in financial services, but in healthcare, in government, and across all industries and verticals. So we're excited to be here in this market in NZ. We're looking to partner, and we're already partnering with some incredible organizations within financial services, and we have some really exciting clients globally as well that we're going to be starting to tap into the NZ market to enable references. So looking forward to chatting.
Okay, what Abi is for. So Abi was known for almost 30 years as a reliable vendor of OCR technology, which means optical character recognition. And 25 years ago, that was a fantastic, that was magic So you can scan a document with text, and the software will actually recognize this text and convert it into editable format, into Microsoft Word document. But eventually we realized that that is not enough for our customers, so RB is now more famous as a OCR plus data capture solution, data capture technology. What it means, many companies deal with different sources, different types of documents, which can be invoices, law documents, purchase orders, hand-fillable forms, and things like that. So RB bridges the gap between physical paper or paper in a PDF format, electronic paper, and backend databases or backend systems which provide analysis of this data, storage of this data, search of this data, and what have you. But in order to push this data into these storages and make it discoverable, people use our products which combine data capture and obviously OCR. And these days we also are moving into semantic analysis of natural text and converting of natural text as written in the document into discoverable and usable data. So that's what that is.
Okay, so this led me to the next question. Question to auditory. Can you raise your hand who heard about ADBI before our meetup? It's about 10-15%. So you mentioned that ADBI on the market like for 20-25 years, but only 10 or 15% of people actually heard about it. Why? Why is that?
I asked this question yesterday. Do you know what engine within your car? Probably, well, most of you don't know, but there are just a few providers and few producers and developers of engines in the world. RB is one of these companies. So OCR and data capture market is very small in terms of headcount, and there is just a handful of companies who create the technology itself. And most of the software vendors that say that they have OCR technologies, it's licensed from companies like us or from ourselves. And RB is proud that more than 60% of software and hardware on this planet is supplied with RB under the hood. It can be OCR engine embedded into the software. It can be just a disk with the application bundled with the scanning device or multifunctional device, or it can be a big data management system or a big workflow OCR enabled, and the OCR on the hood is, well, in most cases, well, in many cases is ours. That is why people probably, I guess most of you already used OCR from RB if you ever used multifunctional devices, but you didn't know that you're using RB.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Alex, question for Claire. Why chatbot? Like, why do you need chatbot in this tool? It doesn't put for me. Like, why would you need the?
Thanks for the setup, panel. I mean, I think even to begin to answer that question, I think it's fair to say that almost all productivity tools incorporate now the social collaborative capabilities, which I think is pretty critical, and I think that most people are quite natively able to just use that sort of capability. But what we do as well is not only does your team collaborate through a chat capability, but we introduce Eve into that conversation. You can ask Eve intuitive natural language questions. She'll be able to derive insights from your automation journey, whether you're at the identification of opportunity, or whether you're at the delivery stage, or whether you're trying to realize the benefits of your automation workforce. Eve will be able to give you those insights through a chat capability that you can collaborate with your colleagues, and that drag and drop capability into a dashboard, which means that you can collectively be sharing those insights with the team and actioning those insights. So we believe that it's an incredibly powerful value add to be able to do that, all while you are building an automation journey that relies on strategy and assessment and opportunity and business cases. I mean, business cases are a critical part of this. Realizing the business case, the benefits of automation as I think it's been pretty slow at this point. What we're doing is we're seeing a lot of benefits being delivered in isolation, or discrete benefits as part of business functions or pilots and proofs of concept. However, when you take it up to the enterprise level, and you're able to derive an automation strategy and be able to deliver against that strategy, but to do so in a collaborative way, using capabilities that will provide you those insights, I think it's incredibly powerful.
Anna?
Are you convinced?
Well, I think, can I bypass it or not if I want to get data from?
Pardon?
Can I bypass chat? Just get data
Of
directly?
course you can, absolutely. Yeah. That, I mean, it is a value add, but I think it's a value add that will appeal incredibly well to those teams that are working together.
Okay. So Hannah, you mentioned that WorkFusion has a blend of everything, like machine vision, chatbot, and RPA tools, all of it. And if we assume it's all very good, then the tool might be very expensive. So what is the cost of the tool if someone wants to implement?
That's a great question. So I'm not sure if anyone's heard of RPA Express in this room. Anyone show their hands? Has anyone heard of it? Has anyone? It's free. So if anyone's downloaded it, please do so. But we're really trying to change the game for automation. We see automation increasing productivity. It's 48% of manual tasks nowadays and processes that really should be automated through RPA or ML. That's really what we want to do. We want to be a market changer in that space in ANZ. So RPA Express is free, download it. I guess to your point, really what we're trying to do is align processes. So if you take something really basic like trade finance or mortgages or credit card applications, what WorkFusion does across that whole stream is actually build a process. You start, let's say, with a basic RPA tool where you're actually either scanning or you're checking an inbox where credit card applications come in. From that inbox, then you will use OCR to then screen out that information and then pull that into another RPA piece, which then use ML to then be able to go out and make a decision on whether they should give that credit card an application a yes or a no. So the way that WorkFusion is able to do that is through an integrated platform where you're dipping in and out of chatbots, you're going to OCR, you're going through, we call it smart process automation. So it's allowing all of those things to be intertwined and threaded to enable your process to be really kind of 100% accurate, if not between 80 to 100% accurate with these different things, KYC, trade finance, AML. We've got use cases in all of these areas. We're really proud of our automation rates across those different enterprise application areas.
But this tool is not free, right?
That is not free. RPA Express is free. So we see RPA as being a line item at some stage on the kind of the draw sheets. So we're seeing, and the way that we see the future kind of playing out is with machine learning really kind of overtaking and kind of incorporating RPA into that whole journey. So we are betting that RPA Express will allow a lot of people to do the basic RPA data process, and then they will come and partner with us, and then we can take them through the next stage of that journey, which is the smart process automation piece. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it looks like a carrot.
It's a carrot. It's a carrot.
Who's your target auditor? For example, if the company sits here and they can spend like 50 grand on automation, 100 grand on automation, should they bother with our WorkFusion, or it's like not worthwhile for them? They won't be able to buy smart automation.
Yeah, I think SPA, especially if you're doing a project, it really ranges from anything between 50 to 100K in the first instance. We have 12-week methodologies in Agile, but obviously it's about scoping out your process. We've got an amazing team of people we work with that have done this many times before. It's proven. We've got it in many different organizations where it is working. It's business as usual. So we take that, I guess, that intellect and we've done it before, and we then bring it into new banks and superannuation teams, and etc. So the price really is scaled based on the process that you're trying to achieve. So it definitely is affordable, and we're really trying to avoid even POCs now. We can do POCs, we're happy to do it. We ace them, put my hand on my heart when I say that. Setting expectations right up front though. So it's about being very clear and transparent with objectives and really what you're trying to achieve as a customer.
Thanks. Questions from auditor? Yeah.
Interested in WorkFusion. So I work for Noel Lynch, and we're going through an RPA automation process at the moment. A lot of what we're doing is based in the US and UK, so kind of out of the loop here in Asia, the APAC region. But I joined the call the other day for an hour and a half at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, and we were going to go through Work Fusion, but basically they ran out of time and question after a minute. They kind of sold it as a self-serve RPA system, and they were trying to push this out wider than the bank. And I wondered what your take on that was. Should it be something we're looking at from, like a team who will be looking at the RPA thing and their side of the project, or would it be something that I could put on my desktop and automate my own processes and then sell that to the wider team around me?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I've worked with a number of local banks, Deutsche Bank, and they're kind of struggling between this at the moment. My take, and having seen this work and fail actually in both aspects, you can download the RPA Express tool, get it working on your desktop, start automating the basic stuff you're really trying to prove out the technology, and you can start selling that internally, or we can actually help you do that selling as well. By setting up, if you give us a number of different things you're actually trying to automate with ML, we can actually start molding that and helping you to go back into COE. And I think you raised a really good point around the globalization of RPA as well. So we're working with Citibank globally, and you see that the US guys, it's BAU, in Europe it's BAU, but here there's a slower uptake, right? So it's about looping in and I guess me helping in that instance as well, being able to loop in with the Merrill Lynch guys, for example, in the States and in Europe, what's worked there, what hasn't worked, and then how do we replicate that here really, where it makes sense. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, more on like a self-serve side of things, but would it actually be beneficial just to give it to individual users?
It depends what you're doing, really. I think if it's really basic RPA, then it could warrant it.
I think a lot of what we do is copy paste and stick into Excel and reformat.
Yeah. If it, for example, it was like KYC or ML or whatever, I would say no. But yeah, I think it's basic. I mean, we'll have to have a chat potentially afterwards and go through it in a bit more detail.
Alex, question for you. Because we're talking about business transformation, can you give us a particular example of the company who used EPI and achieved good transformation, transform the business basically using EPI?
Well, we are not targeting to transform our customers' businesses, but we're keen to help them increase their efficiency by eliminating manual data entry. Because we can talk business intelligence, we can talk about artificial intelligence, etc. However, there are lots of companies, the majority of companies these days, who deal with incoming documents. That can be legal firms, that can be financial companies, and I want to ask to raise your hand if you need to pay any bills or invoices. All the companies need to pay for invoices. So, and currently in 2017, in the 21st century, companies receive their paper, or actually PDF documents over email. They print them out. They actually enter data from these documents into the finance system, into the workflow system. We rubber stamp these documents, scan them, and attach them to the record in some finance system. And that resulting in huge overheads and huge expenses on each document processing. So there can be invoices for $2, but you can spend $15 just to actually processing this invoice, approving this invoice, entering data, printing, scanning, and things like that. So our software and our solutions allow to dramatically increase these overheads to actually zero. And in the range of a whole year or a few years, that results in a huge savings. As invoices is just one example. But if we're talking legal documents, purchase orders, receipts, applications, forms, surveys, and things like that. So if you can eliminate the efforts and time and money to process this kind of documents, that will be a great win. And at the same time, we're not trying to revolutionize the back-end processes that the company already has. we're just trying to, actually, just a good example. A company may have extremely well working, transparent, fast, reliable backend system, as I said before. But if people still need to enter data day in, day out into that system from paper documents, the whole efficiency of the system just drops. So we help companies to streamline this process and increase efficiency of the business processes they already have.
Yeah, thanks. Alex, okay, running out of time, so one more question.
Make it an easy one.
Yeah, an easy one, yeah. So if I want to try a tool tomorrow, what kind of investment I need to do and what team will be there? Like, how should I start and how should I prepare?
Well, very easily and rapidly. I mean, we are fairly lightweight. We would be able to bring the tool into your organization and be able to work with you in deriving the insights pretty much straight away. And that was the reason why I asked the question at the last panel was how do you find the difference between expectation and the challenges around implementation. So our goal would be to start working with our clients immediately and understanding what are the key business insights that you need to derive from your automation workforce. So it'll help you make business decisions rather than operational decisions. It will actually change the way you behave, change how your team is focused. And using those sorts of insights, we will be able to work with the automation tools, derive the insights and present them back to you. So we're working with a large telco, a large Australian telco who's transitioning from an incredibly successful automation pilot to a scalable automation function. And not only are we helping with the transition from that pilot to the automation function, but we're also working on the automation workforce they have in production now to derive insights that will help them make the changes in their organization and reprioritize their automation journey. So they've identified a number of opportunities, but in order to really genuinely deliver the benefit, how they prioritize them in the right order. What insights from their automation workforce will help them make decisions on the prioritization of the opportunities that come up. So that's what we're working on.
Is it like straightforward? So you come and in 2 weeks or 4 weeks provide insights, or it's longer?
It can be, but you do need to work directly with the process owners to understand the process, who can tell you exactly what business insights will make a difference. But if we go into the very beginning of the journey, what we're offering is more of a holistic transformation capability. So that goes from strategy through a scan of opportunities across the entire organization, starting to build a prioritized roadmap. That could be hundreds and hundreds of processes. But Eve is able to manage the entire journey through the building of a business case and then using the automation workforce to derive the insights that will tell you how you're performing against that business case and also tell you what you should be thinking about next. Should you actually continue executing on the path you're on now, or are there possible alternatives? What should your organization start to look like? I mean, we talk an awful lot about how you can cost out, cost avoidance, capacity release, and so on and so on. But really, what is the ultimate goal of automation? It's to transform our organizations. That might be totally different in 5 to 10 years' time. But what you need is the insights as you automate, as you evolve, that will help you steer your organization along that journey. And that's really where Eve comes to the fore.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the panel. So now we'll have breakout sessions, 3 sessions for 10 minutes. So out of 6 speakers, anyone can choose 3 and talk to them in these tables, 6 tables. We have banners on the tables, all of them. Yeah, Flamingo, Envy. Yep, and here we go. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going the first table will be Rosie. Let's see.
Those are easy questions. Where were your hard ones?
So, we have our Melbourne guys here. Interested in Rosie.
Oh, lovely.
So let's have 10 minutes to talk with them.
Not taught, actually, but listen. They can listen, but we need.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hi guys. Did you see our presentation?
We certainly did.
Yeah.
We walked
Hi.
out.
Hi.
Yes.
How are you?
Last call.
We're actually at Tempo, we're wrapping up our
All right, thank you. I'm not sure what the one is here.
I think we all together.
People like to make money
Would you?
So I can show you. One of the cool things would be, so you talk about acceptance. So let's say you're running, can you give me a nice
Well, even most of us, we're not dealing with
Yeah, this is an example. It's similar to what was already on the video that we showed. So this is the customer interface at the moment, and it's quite vanilla. There's no branding. Very simple to get around. You already know a chat feature down here. This is where the journey steps being presented. Depending on what the customer needs. On the back end, the workflow brings your actual experience there.
Yeah, so that's you guys. Well, we've only just. No, we're also starting to it is. It's easy to measure them because you solve it, you didn't solve it.
Yes. We have grammar,
Can we try?
not yet. I don't have it here, and unfortunately,
You're going to use your accent. You're going to use your accent.
Yeah. It's a very interesting point. She does. She picks up silly mistakes. She understands that way.
I reckon it's easiest to understand.
I think that's why the fact that we're working with large
Yeah, we have guys from health, but they are not here. They can hear you, but they cannot talk to you. But they're interested to know a bit more about the movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's creepy. So, question. Do you have a question? Am I going to hear it if you ask it?
I'm just showing all the technologies. Yeah. Oh, it's just time. Oh, it was such a thanks a lot. Thanks. You've been thanks, Andrew. Have a good one.
It's easy, so we can just
Hi there. Can you hear?
I can't hear you as well. Good.
Yeah, we can go for yes. Let's do this. Yes, can we do this?
I'm on the lectern.
No, I think not. No, do you have?
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah, let's try. Yeah, let's try. Yep, let's do this. No, you won't be able to hear them, but I will put on speaker. Here.
Okay.
It's Google Hangout. It should be able to. Try.
All right.
We're still connecting. Yeah.
Do you guys want to put something else on the projector?
No, we're just finding somewhere slightly quieter to try and have a web chat.
Yeah, that's right.
I hit that one as well, sorry.
That's fine. I haven't talked to Stealth before yet.
Okay.
They said they wanted to talk. Will be streaming.
I recognize the on hold music.
Oh, here? Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I can just hear you.
Yeah?
Okay, good. So you can hear us on the phone as well. Okay. So, a question, or would you like to set up another session? That might be an easier conversation. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll make a couple of observations in that, and I think I got most of what you said, so if I get it wrong, it's because I couldn't hear. So Amelia is designed to be that conversational agent to manage the interactions. So her analytic capability is relevant to that conversational structure. So Amelia's not going to provide you the analytics against, say, your network and the performance of the network and things like that. That's not her role. But if you have that tool and you need to provide that information through multiple channels as part of a conversational interaction, then certainly she can sort of tap the analytic platform on the shoulder and say, give me this data. And you know, while it's friendly rivalry in the panel, we have actually done scenarios where we've had Amelia managing the conversation and Watson being the source of the information. Once Amelia's determined what was wanted, she's gone to Watson and said, give me this analysis or give me these statistics. And we can do that with any of the analytic engines you might have. Now, if you're looking for an analytic engine itself, I would direct you to one of my esteemed colleagues. But if you're looking for something that provides a conversational interaction, then yes, that's us, and we'll continue the chat. Did that help?
I think that once someone is on, we've got a Telstra chat.
Yeah.
We've got agents using one chat, and there may be an opportunity when they're sort of sitting between a human and a robot that's actually interacting with the customer. If the customer starts talking about problems, then they can start talking to our analytics engine, and the robots can come in and maybe take over the chat at that point.
Yeah, look, I think that's, look, there are, as a number of people have said, there are so many different use cases emerging as people's understanding of the technology improves, but also as their initiatives within the business change, that it's very interesting. Look, I'm going to be down in Melbourne next week. Would you have time either maybe Tuesday afternoon to get together for a short chat?
So I think this is the end of the conversation. Yeah, thank you very much for viewing.